What's cooking, Doc? Oh, wait, wrong carrot chaser. I just watched an old VHS movie last night. I want to talk to you about it. 1988's Who Framed Roger Rabbit? Produced by none other than the King, Steven Spielberg, and directed by the legendary Robert Zemeckis, who had just come off of some serious magic with Back to the Future and the sequel, which are two of arguably the best films of all time. So why would he let us down with this one? He would also go on to introduce us to one of the greatest cinema villains of all time, Jenny Coran in Forrest Gump. So he was a heavy hitter at that time. The script was adapted from the Gary K. Wolfe novel Who Censored Roger Rabbit, penned by Jeff Price and Peter Seaman, a pair who worked on other hits of the 80s through the 2000s, notably Wild Wild West with Will Smith and Kenneth Branagh, Ron Howard's How the Grinch Stole Christmas with Jim Carrey, and even Shrek the Third with Mike Myers. Departing from the novel storyline of an alternative Los Angeles in the 1980s, which was cohabitated with comic strip characters, the film flips the script and goes back to the smoky noir kissed 1940s for what is, in my opinion, a great move that really helped the plot and paid homage to the golden age for film gone by, with character references to Disney's most classic players such as Fantasia cartoons, Dumbo, and especially very creative collaborations like the wisecracking piano playoff between Daffy and Donald Ducks. The alliteration and the irony are both killing me here. They even made reference to legendary cartoon strip Betty Boop, which we here in the Retro Room especially appreciated. I even have here a copy of Max Fleischer's Betty Boop copyright drawing. So this made us geek out even more than usual over here. I'm going to hit you with a little close-up action on that one. You can take a look at that bad boy for yourself. With Disney Studios in a slump after bombs such as The Black Cauldron and some failed marketing attempts aimed at adult viewers with movies like Something Wicked This Way Comes and Return to Oz, Who Framed Roger Rabbit essentially blended family comedy with hazy shadow of hard-boiled detective drama so well that it knocked it out of the park. It was just what the doc ordered. And speaking of Doc Brown, this film had quite the cast. It really lended to the story, the vibe, and the overall likability of this movie. Bob Hoskins, the insanely talented and often underrated English actor, took on the role of Eddie Valiant and would go on to do very notable roles as the titular character in Super Mario Brothers, Smee in Steven Spielberg's absolute treasure, Hook, and even a lead role in Mermaids next to Cher and Winona Ryder in 1990. As legend would have it, the first choice for Rob Zemeckis and Steve Spielberg was actually Bill Murray, who, according to history, did not have an agent at that time and missed a voicemail when their team reached out to him to offer it to him, which sounds about right. But he later stated he regrets missing the opportunity and truly wished he could have taken it. If you believe in it, fate dealt another hand here, and although it would have been interesting to see Murray in the role of Eddie Valiant, Bob Hoskins really did it justice, and his hard-nosed style might have aided the character so well that I don't know if an overly funny or a nonchalant Bill Murray could have done it the same justice. And as he says in the film, here's to the pencil pushers. May they all get lead. With interesting previous roles in films like Nightmare on Elm Street and television shows like Welcome Back, Kotter, the insanely talented Charles Fleischer, spelled the same way as the creator of Betty Boop, no relation, but either way, performed not only the role of Roger Rabbit himself, but also Benny the Wise Ass Cab, and he also lended his voice to several other characters in the film, which was very interesting. Kathleen Turner providing the voice of Jessica Rabbit, and Amy Irving providing song vocal credits of the insanely appropriate Peggy Lee hit Why Don't You Do Right, which was a chef's kiss to the time period, and I would be remiss not to mention it here. I was totally there for that. Joanna Cassidy of Blade Runner fame, who played the helpful love interest Dolores and was really great in this movie. I think she added a lot to the film as well. Christopher Lloyd, obviously having an amazing chemistry with the director from previous escapades as the villain Judge Doom in this film, was not only genius, it was necessary. Tim Curry apparently auditioned for the role and they found his performance so scary that they did not choose him for it. I love Tim Curry so much. He's an absolute legend, but I am glad they went with Chris Lloyd on this one. He blends scary with funny like an absolute master. Something so simple as the scene where Judge Doom kills the cartoon shoe by slowly dropping him into the dip was terrifying and effective without really being over the top. The scene with the weasels searching the apartment while Eddie is handcuffed to Roger is a masterclass in not only CGI, but the acting that he had to do throughout that film, which was wildly difficult, extremely interesting, and entertaining to watch. What kind of man plays patty cake with another man's wife? I am also convinced that Baby Herman is a cartoon child version of Harvey Weinstein because he says things like, I got a 50-year-old's lust and a 3-year-old's dinky. With some really great cameos from long lost characters, it was nice to see them on screen again. Porky Pig, Woody Woodpecker, Tweety Bird. When you pop this VHS in and settle yourself back in your chair, you can rest assured it's going down, sir. Also, the marketing for this film went pretty hard. McDonald's didn't even let us down either with their partnering of this. We discussed in previous episodes that they were pretty much on fire back then with the merch. I have one of those Happy Meal toys here, as well as an LJN exclusive toy that was released for the film in 1988. We also have here a set of pins from the movie that are pretty dope. They even had a Topps trading card game set, which I'm going to have to be on the lookout for in my travels. All things considered, Who Framed Roger Rabbit is a true gem for its time. The story was supreme, the acting was seriously top notch, especially taking into account the fact that this was at its core a mix of hand drawn cartoons interacting in the same frame at the same exact time with humans, and it's insanely impressive and wildly entertaining every time you watch it. I'm giving this flick a serious 9.8 out of 10 on the watchability scale. And listen, toots, as always, if you are watching this thing the old-fashioned way, you might be under investigation. Or worse, have a piano dropped on your head. Stay tuned for the next review from the Retro Room, and as always, thank you for watching.